Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow and make one small change. Just one. Nothing dramatic, nothing Instagram-worthy. You don't overhaul your life. You don't tear through your bad habits like a maniac on a detox spree. You simply tweak one behavior. And that single change, tiny, almost invisible, starts a chain reaction that rewires your day, your routines, and eventually your results. This isn't fantasy. It's the science of keystone habits. They're the habits that hold more power than the rest. Habits that, when installed, pull other good habits in behind them, like a locomotive pulling cars. You don't force transformation, you trigger it. The problem most people have with habits is they try to fix everything all at once. They write massive lists, they set wild goals, and by week 2, the whole thing burns to the ground. Because willpower? It's fragile. Motivation? Even more fragile. But keystone habits work differently. You don't need to brute force change in 100 places. You pick the right spot and the rest aligns. It's like finding the first domino in a chain, tap it, and the others fall on their own. Charles Duhigg, in his book The Power of Habit, called these the habits that matter most. He found them in companies, in sports teams, in individual lives. And here's the magic. They're rarely obvious. They're hiding in plain sight. So what makes a habit keystone? 3 things. 1, it creates a ripple effect. 2, it reshapes identity. And 3, it builds confidence through small wins. Take exercise. People think its benefit is just fitness. Wrong. People who start exercising, even 10 minutes a day, don't just get healthier. They start eating better without trying. They procrastinate less. They spend money more wisely. Why? Because the habit of moving your body sends a signal. I'm the type of person who cares for myself. That identity shift leaks into other domains. And then momentum does the heavy lifting. Here's another example. Journaling. 5 minutes with a notebook every morning. Simple. But watch what happens. You start noticing patterns in your thoughts. Clarity sharpens, stress drops, and then, without meaning to, you make better decisions throughout the day because you're thinking instead of reacting. That's the multiplier effect in action. One habit upgrades your operating system. Suddenly, new behaviors that used to feel impossible now feel inevitable. But here's where most people miss the point. They ask, what's the perfect keystone habit? As if there's one holy grail answer. There isn't. Keystone habits depend on your context. For some, it's exercise. For others, it's waking up early. For others, it's a nightly shutdown ritual that locks in tomorrow's priorities. The key is choosing a habit with leverage, a habit that, by its nature, triggers a cascade of other wins. And let's kill a myth right now. Small doesn't mean insignificant. In fact, the smaller the better. Because success with habits isn't about intensity, it's about consistency. The brain resists massive change, but embraces micro shifts. A keystone habit done daily is a snowball rolling downhill. Give it time, and it becomes an avalanche. Think of brushing your teeth. Nobody negotiates with themselves about brushing. It's automatic. Now imagine if you had 1 or 2 habits like that, not for dental hygiene, but for energy, clarity, or productivity. That's where the game changes. Now let's zoom in on why keystone habits work at the neurological level. Habits live in the basal ganglia, the brain's pattern center. When you repeat an action in a stable context, neurons fire together until the sequence becomes automatic. But here's the kicker: habits chain. One cue doesn't just activate one behavior, it lights up an entire cluster of routines tied to it. That's why morning exercise makes you crave a smoothie instead of a donut. It's why writing down your top 3 priorities makes you ignore email for an hour. Keystone habits exploit this wiring. They're high-leverage nodes in your behavior network. Change the node, and the web reorganizes. So how do you pick yours? Start with this question. What single habit, if done consistently, would make everything else easier or unnecessary? Let that marinate. For many, the answer is movement. For others, it's planning. For some, it's reducing friction in the morning by prepping clothes and meals the night before. Identify the behavior that acts like a lever, a tiny hinge that swings a big door. Then, and this is critical, shrink it. People fail because they start big. Don't commit to an hour at the gym. Commit to 5 minutes of stretching. Don't vow to write 1,000 words. Vow to open the doc and type 1 sentence. Because here's the paradox. Small is sustainable, and sustainable scales. Now, let me show you what happens when you ignore this principle. Someone decides they're tired of chaos, so they overhaul everything at once. New diet, new workout plan, new morning routine, 0 sugar, daily journaling, 12 books a month. Day 1, they're on fire. Day 4, they're exhausted. Day 10, they've quit and feel like a failure. Why? Because they fought a war on all fronts with no supply lines. Keystone habits flip the script. They win the first battle and let victory cascade. You build confidence from one success and reinvest it. That's not theory, it's physics. Objects in motion stay in motion. And here's the fun part. Once your keystone habit is solid, it becomes a platform for stacking others. Habit stacking is powerful because it piggybacks new behaviors on established cues. Let's say your keystone habit is a morning walk. Once that's automatic, you tack on gratitude journaling right after. Then you add a 2-minute breathing exercise. Soon you've built a ritual, a chain of habits triggered by one anchor. You didn't brute force 5 changes at once, you grew them organically. And now, instead of draining willpower, your system runs on autopilot. I want you to picture your life 6 months from now. If nothing changes, what's your trajectory? Now picture it if one keystone habit takes root, just one. What compounds from that? Maybe you start exercising. You feel better, so you eat better. Your mood lifts, so your relationships improve. Energy rises, so you crush work tasks, which earns you recognition, which boosts confidence, which pushes you to pursue bigger goals. That's the ripple effect. And it starts with a choice so small, most people overlook it. Let's dig even deeper into why this works. Behavior change isn't about crushing bad habits with willpower, it's about replacing them by reshaping identity. Habits live at 3 levels: outcome, process, and identity. Most people start with outcomes. I want to lose 20 pounds. Some start with process. I'll go to the gym 3 times a week. But the deepest level, the level that sticks, is identity. I'm the kind of person who never misses a workout. Keystone habits force that identity shift because every time you execute them, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. You're not chasing a result, you're proving something to yourself. I am consistent. I keep promises to myself, and that proof is addictive. It builds confidence that leaks into everything else. Now, about breaking bad habits without white-knuckling willpower, here's the paradox. You don't fight them head-on. You crowd them out. Install a keystone habit that conflicts with the old behavior. If your mornings are dominated by doom scrolling, commit to a morning walk. If late-night snacking is wrecking your progress, install a night shutdown ritual that moves you from the kitchen to a calm zone with a book. You can't erase a neural pathway, but you can starve it and build a stronger one beside it. That's how the brain works. You can't delete old roads, but you can build a highway so fast and smooth your brain stops taking the back alley. Another key: anchor your keystone habit to a cue that already exists. Don't leave it floating in the ether. If your habit is journaling, tether it to your morning coffee. After I pour coffee, I open my notebook. If it's stretching, attach it to brushing your teeth. After I brush, I stretch for 2 minutes. Anchoring reduces decision fatigue and makes the habit part of a chain you already trust. Over time, that chain becomes unbreakable. Now, let's talk about the timeline, because here's where most people self-destruct. They expect fireworks in a week, and when life still looks messy, they quit. Keystone habits are compound interest for your behavior. At first, the gains are microscopic, invisible even. But underneath the surface, identity is hardening, routines are stabilizing, systems are locking in. Then boom, the curve bends upward. Suddenly, results snowball, and everyone calls it luck. It's not luck, it's leverage over time. Think about the small hinges in history, a single decision that changed the trajectory of everything else. That's what a keystone habit is. It's your hinge. But here's the catch. Nobody will clap for you when you start. There's no dopamine rush from doing 5 push-ups or writing 3 lines in a journal. The applause comes later. At first, it's quiet. You'll want to quit because it feels too small. That's the moment you lean in. Because the people who win aren't the ones who do more when they feel motivated. They're the ones who keep going when the novelty dies. So here's the challenge I'm laying down for you. Pick one. Not 10, not 5. One. The keystone habit that, if done daily, would create a ripple across everything else. Commit to it for 30 days. Guard it like treasure. Stack it on a queue you can't miss. Make it so small you can't fail. And when resistance whispers, "This isn't enough," smile. Because you know the truth, small is a Trojan horse. Inside that tiny shell is a force that can topple your old life and build something extraordinary. Picture this. 6 months from now, you look in the mirror and the person staring back isn't a stranger. It's the person you were trying to become all along. And when someone asks what changed, you'll laugh, because the answer will sound too simple. I started doing one thing. But that one thing was the door. You opened it, and on the other side was energy, clarity, momentum, and mastery you didn't think you had in you. That door is in front of you right now. All you have to do is turn the handle. Start today. Start small. Start with one keystone habit. Because once you do, you won't just change your routine. You'll change your identity. And when that happens, everything else falls into place. That's the power of one choice. That's the leverage most people never use. Don't be most people. Be the exception. The person who understood that the shortest path to an extraordinary life wasn't doing everything. It was doing one thing consistently until it rewired everything else. The question is, what will your one thing be? Decide now, then go do it.